Hi folks, this is Praxila. Welcome to Largesse August. Today our project is going to be a super simple tasseled bookmark. Mostly the point is for me to show you how to make a tassel. Tassels can be incredibly useful. For instance, if you belong to the University of Artemisia, we have tassels as part of our award structure, and we can always use those sorts of things. You can also do things like, when you're making largesse, things like an archery tassel. Now, we have an archery program that does have recognitions that are tassels, but you will find, I found the other day as I was going through and looking at, they have archery tassels for people to clean their arrows. So if you were to shoot this thing, it ends up in the mud and it ends up wet, rather than wiping it on your sleeve, wipe it in your wool tassel, then that continues to hang off of you, and it will dry there rather than leaving the mess on your clothing. I also, for instance, I have a Venetian persona. I have an outdoor veil that's worn over the top of everything as an outdoor piece. All of the edges are weighted with tassels, so that's one of my favorite pieces. You see tassels on things like paternosters, so off the edges of shoes, all kinds of places you can find individual tassels. The reason we're doing a bookmark today is that way it is completely finished and an item on its own. If you do decide to make a bunch of tassels for a particular reason, so for instance, if you wanted to make a set of 4 for a veil and you didn't want to make the whole veil, make sure you do label those. Whatever it is that you're giving for largesse needs to be labeled. So just let people know what it is. Makes it a lot easier for someone to be super excited about their nifty thing if they know what it's for. But so today, again, we are making a tasseled bookmark. I happen to love these things because they just go in nice and light. I can see where I'm at. For this project, all you're going to need is some string, pair of scissors, piece of cardboard, a deck of cards, something to wrap your string around. Okay, so let's get going. Alrighty, let's see here. So I'm going to take my, I want to make a smaller tassel. So here's a piece of cardboard, like I said, about whatever size you're going to wrap it in. I'm going to go this direction because I want a shorter one, but if I wanted a longer one, I could do this, or I could make, I've spent a lot of time over the year wrapping things around notebooks, around books, whatever. But I'm using this as my basic piece. So I'm going to take my yarn, hold it on, and just start wrapping. And I randomly grabbed this particular ball of yarn so that I would have so that would wrap faster. And of course, it has been cut in pieces. More likely, it has been attacked by my cat. But nonetheless, here we go. So just continue wrapping with whatever your string is until it looks about as full as you want it to be. Okay. So I'm thinking, yeah, that's going to be kind of a nice squishy tassel. Give it a few more wraps. And just continue going with that until it's about where you want it. So with this, because it's the same thing as my finished tassel, I know that this is about where I want it. Once you hit that point, you're going to cut it off of whatever you're using as your gauge. And so you will have short lengths of yarn. Then what you want to do is to take a length of string. In this case, because I have a few more strands than I would normally have because I want to eventually braid it into the bookmark part. But I'm going to take that, double it, put it in the middle, and I'm going to tie a knot. So I now have that hanging from this. Okay, so I've got that part. Now for my next step, what I will do is take this, hold on to this part. I'm going to take another small, like if I'm using this, I'm just using a single piece. I'm going to go down a little ways. We're making what's called the head of the tassel. So I will tie a little knot here. And kind of check and see, is that how's that balance? Is that balance okay? Yep, it looks pretty good. So then I'm going to take that and I'm just going to wrap in that section right there, around and around and around. If you want to add like a charm or something to this part, you could, so that it dangles down like on a graduation tassel where you have your year or whatever. But that's going to continue going around and around until it's formed kind of a nice little waist between my head and the part of the tassel. Okay, so then I will tie. This is a lot longer than I need it to be, but I'll tie that off. Okay, so now it's that far. So once that's tied off, my next step, I like to really finish it off. I take a needle and I go up under that waist part and out through the top. That makes sure that the wrap doesn't get loose, and it's also not hanging down, looking bad. So I'll pull that out there and then clip that off. Trying to do this on camera. I look like I have no coordination. Probably don't. All right, so I've clipped that off. Then I'm going to kind of pull all the parts of the tassel, make them even. And then I will clip them off as well so that I get a nice cut there. And then because I'm going to braid these bits, I also want to make that all even as well. Okay. All right. So at this point, I have my tassel on whatever, and I can do whatever I want with this. If I wanted to make it into, said the archery tassel we saw earlier, you could tie it into a loop. But what we're going to do here is I am going to take a weight, put it on my tassel so it's held. I'm going to divide the bits at the top into 3, because I'm just going to do the super simplest, easiest braid I can do. And so I will start plaiting. And I will continue going till I reach whatever length I want, probably in this case pretty close to the end. And yeah, I didn't divide this very well, but it looks really cool when I can actually, you know, when I'm actually thinking about it and I do an even braid as opposed to what I did here. Once I hit the end, I'm just going to make a basic knot, just knot it all off. Yes, I have 9 pairs of scissors here. Trim that off. And you have a tassel bookmark all set for use. All right. So hopefully this one will be a fun one for you. You'll find lots of uses for yourself or gifts for tassels. And I will see you soon for another thing to add to our Largesse August. Appreciate you dropping by. Thanks, guys.